Hello students, good morning to all of you. I hope you all are in good health and taking great care of yourself. Welcome back to our English class. As you know students that we are done with our grammar portion, that is from your grammar book Adventures with Grammar and Composition, right? The last topic that was remaining was informal letters, which I have already explained you in the previous class. So from today onwards, we are going to start the recapitulation of our Unit 6 from your course book. So students, I request you to open your course book, that is New Pathways, Unit 6, The Unexplained. And today we would be going through the chapter section 1, that is Lob's Girl. I hope that you remember the story of this girl, right? Whose name is Sandy, right? And she has a dog named Lob, and Lob chose his owner by himself. Normally it so happens that the owner chooses a dog for himself, but here the story is other way around, where the dog chooses his owner, right? He was before he was owned by somebody else, right? The name of his owner was Mr. Dodsworth, and somehow it met the girl Sandy, and it was like love at first sight, and they both fell in love with each other. And then the dog named Lob kept on coming back to her again and again, and it's quite lovely and interesting story and an emotional one, because by the end of the story it is written, or it is said, that the Lob died, and it was just that the dog wanted to see if his owner is fine and healthy, right? He wanted to see that, and that's the reason his ghost, or you can say his soul, came to meet the girl in the hospital, right? Because before the dog, or before the soul, you can say, it came to meet Sandy, his brother, Sandy's brother, had already buried the dog into the sea. Okay, so let's see the story. I won't be going through the story line by line, because we have already seen the explanation before. So let's just read it out, and I would just let you know the difficult words over here. So let's see. Lob's Girl. We'll read the story about the girl and her loyal companion. Companion matlab friend, है ना? Some people choose their dogs and some dogs choose their people. The Pengali family had no say in choosing of Lob. As I told you कि यहाँ पे जो story है, here you can see that the dog chooses his owner. मतलब ये Sandy जो है, उसको खुद उसने choose किया है. It began on this beach, the summer, when Sandy was 5, Dawn her brother 12, and the twins were 3. Sandy was short for Alexandra. That means Sandy was called by a name called Alexandra. ठीक है, उसका घर का नाम Sandy था, but उसका actual name Alexandra था. And this is a story when Sandy was 5 years old. Okay, it started on the beach during summertime. On this summer day, she was lying peacefully reading a comic. Father, Bert Pengelly, and Dawn were up on the hearth. So on that summer day, she was lying on the beach and reading her comic book. And उसके जो father और brother था Dawn, वो दोनों hard पर थे. Hard means a road leading down across the foreshore. The bottom boards of the boat in which father went for fishing, and mother Jean Pengelly, mother का नाम क्या था? Jean Pengelly. She was making puddings. Little did they guess how soon this state of things would be changed by a large new member who was going to erupt into their midst. That means suddenly उनका जो पूरा life था, right? उनका जो routine था, उन सब चीज़ों के अंदर suddenly एक change आ गया by the emergence, or you can say eruption. That means यहाँ पे जो डॉग की एंट्री थी, इट वॉज क्वाइट ड्रामेटिक. यू कैन से कि सडनली कहीं से एक बड़ा सा मेंबर वहाँ पर उनके बीच में आ गया, came into their midst. Sandy rolled onto her back to make sure that the twins were not climbing on slippery rocks. At the same moment, a large body struck her forcibly in the midriff and she was covered by flying sand. Sandy rolled onto her back ताकि उसके जो twins थे, right? Tim and Tess. Yes, we would come to know about it in the chapter while we would be moving further ahead. Yes, तो उनके जो twins थे, right? सैंडी के ब्रदर एंड सिस्टर थे, दे वर ट्विंस, एंड उनका ध्यान रखने के लिए शी जस्ट मूव्ड हर बैक so that they do not climb on the slippery rocks. And at the same moment, at the same time, a large body came towards her and it struck her forcibly in her chest and she was covered by flying sand. And उसका पूरा जो body था, face था, it covered in sand. Instinctively she shut her eyes and felt the sand being wiped off her face by something that seemed like a warm, rough, damp flannel. And without, instinctively means without knowing, or you can say कि वो एक कॉन्शियस, वो अपना कॉन्शियस माइंड रहता है, उस हिसाब से मतलब जैसे ही सैंड उड़ी तो उसने अपनी आंखें बंद कर ली. एंड देन शी फेल्ट दैट समथिंग काइंड ऑफ क्लॉथ, फ्लैनल मतलब एक सॉफ्ट कपड़ा जैसा होता है, वैसी उसको फीलिंग आई क्योंकि उसकी आंखें बंद थी. तो शी वॉज नॉट एबल टू रिकॉग्नाइज कि कौन है, बट एक्चुअली वो क्या था, इट वॉज द टंग ऑफ दैट डॉग. ओके, इट वॉज ट्राइंग टू क्लीन ऑफ द सैंड. Its owner was a large, bouncy young Alsatian or German Shepherd with topaz eyes, black-tipped prick ears, a thick, soft coat, and a bushy, black-tipped tail. Right? So उसका owner कौन था? It was, मतलब ये टंग का owner कौन था? Right? उसने क्या feel किया था अपने face पर? टंग feel की थी dog की. And when she opened the eyes, she came to know that the tongue belongs to the dog. It might be Alsatian or German Shepherd. और उसका description दिया हुआ है, उसकी eyes topaz color की थी and his ears were black tipped and a thick soft coat and a bushy black tipped tail. That is the description of the dog. Lob, shouted a man. Lob, come here. His owner, grey-haired man with a limp, walked over as quickly as he could and seized him by the collar. So ये जो डॉग उसके पास आया था उसका ओनर कोई और था, राइट? एंड ही वॉज अ ग्रे हेयर्ड मैन, दैट मीन्स ही माइट बी क्वाइट ओल्ड, एंड ही वॉज ऑल्सो लिम्पिंग. लिम्पिंग मीन्स नॉट एबल टू वॉक प्रॉपरली, राइट? ठीक से चल नहीं पाते हैं, शायद उनके पैर में डिफेक्ट होगा फ्रॉम बर्थ और माइट बी बिकॉज ऑफ सम एक्सीडेंट. एंड ही ट्राइड टू वॉक एज क्विकली एज ही कुड, और उसने जो पट्टा बांधा होगा, ही ट्राइड टू सीज हिम बाय द कॉलर. I hope he didn't give you a fright, the man said to Sandy. He meant it in play. He is only young. So he was kind of apologizing, right? वो Sandy से माफ़ी मांग रहा हो, वैसा लग रहा था कि I hope कि उसने तुमको डरा नहीं दिया. He did not give you a fright. He is just trying to play with you. Oh no, I think he is beautiful, said Sandy. She picked up a bit of driftwood and threw it. Lob went after it like a sand-colored bullet and came back with the stick and gave it to the Sandy. For Sandy too, it was love at first sight. As I told you before in the beginning, कि दोनों ही एक दूसरे के साथ खेलने लगे. They started playing and Sandy was quite happy. She was not at all annoyed कि उसको गुस्सा नहीं आया जिस तरह से वो डॉग उसकी तरफ आया. She is quite happy and she picked up a driftwood. Driftwood means एक वुड का जो लॉग का टुकड़ा पड़ा होगा वहाँ पे. शी जस्ट थ्रू इट एंड लॉब स्टार्टेड प्लेइंग विद इट, राइट? एंड इट फेल्ट लाइक उन दोनों के बीच में प्यार हो गया एट द फर्स्ट साइड. एंड व्हेन शी एंड द ट्विंस जॉइंड father and Dawn to go home for tea, they cast many backward glances at the lob being led away by his master. So they were also going home now for tea, and ये जो dog था वो भी अपने owner के साथ जा रहा था. So they kept on looking each other. I wish we could play with him every day, Tess sighed. Why can't we, said Tim. Yeah, Tess and Tim both are the twins which we talked about before, right? They were also very happy to play with the dog. Sandy explained, because Mr. Dodsworth, who owns him, is from Liverpool and he is only staying at the Fisherman's Arm till सैटरडे। सो सैंडी ने एक्सप्लेन किया दोनों बच्चों को कि उसका जो ओनर है, राइट, मिस्टर डॉट्सवुड, वो लिवरपूल में रहता है, ही इज़ फ्रॉम लिवरपूल एंड ही जस्ट केम हियर टू स्पेंड द वीकेंड एंड देन ही वुड बी लिविंग। फिशर आर्म्स मतलब वहाँ की जगह कोई है, उसका नाम है, ठीक है। इट वॉज अ कॉर्निश फिशिंग विलेज वेयर द पेंगेली फैमिली लिव्ड, ठीक है। कॉर्निश फिशिंग विलेज था। इट्स अ फिशिंग टाउन इन द साउथ ईस्ट ऑफ इंग्लैंड, ओके। कॉर्नवॉल करके एक जगह है जो फिशिंग टाउन है साउथ ईस्ट में, तो वहाँ पर रहने वाले लोगों को कॉर्निश कहा जाता होगा, ठीक है। एंड वहीं पे पेंगेली फैमिली रहती थी विथ रॉक्स एंड क्लिफ्स एंड अ स्ट्रिप ऑफ बीच and a little round harbor and palm trees growing in the gardens of the little whitewashed stone houses. So this is the description of the houses or the residential area over there, right? वहाँ पर जो फैमिली रहती थी उनका घर रॉक्स और क्लिफ से सराउंडेड था, मतलब आसपास वाला रास्ता काफ़ी डेंजरस होगा। एंड अ स्ट्रिप ऑफ बीच बिकॉज दे वेंट ओवर देयर, राइट। तो बीच भी है, हार्बर है छोटा सा। हार्बर मीन्स जहाँ पे शिप्स को एंकर किया जाता है वो जगह, राइट। एंड पाम ट्रीज ग्रोइंग इन द गार्डन्स ऑफ लिटिल वाइट वॉश्ड स्टोन हाउसेस। द विलेज वॉज अप्रोच्ड बाय अ नैरो स्टीप ट्विस्टिंग हिल रोड। नाउ जहाँ पे ये विलेज है, जहाँ पे ये विलेज लोकेटेड है, ठीक है, वहाँ तक पहुँचने का जो रास्ता है डेट वॉज क्वाइट नैरो स्टीप। स्टीप मीन्स डीप डाउन, स्लोप जैसा, लेकिन वो स्लोप कैसा होता है, मतलब थोड़ा you can say it's quite more inclined and twisting hill road guarded by a notice that said low gear for 1.5 miles and dangerous to cyclist. That means कि ये जो रास्ता है वो काफ़ी dangerous है, so please apply the brakes for 1.5 mile and go slow, और cyclist के लिए तो काफ़ी dangerous है। The Pengelly children went home thinking that they had seen the last of Lob. Obviously, when they reached home, as Sandy told them before, कि अभी तो वो मिलेंगे ही नहीं, है ना, सैटरडे तो चले जाएंगे। But that wasn't true. That they were much mistaken. Here, they were actually not knowing कि अभी बहुत कुछ बाकी है और ये लॉब का जो मीटिंग था वो पहला और आखिरी मीटिंग नहीं था। The whole family was playing cards by the fire in the front room after the supper when there was a loud thump and a crash of china in the kitchen. So जो family थी वो cards खेल रही थी अपने front room में और suddenly आवाज़ आया, मतलब जो उनका क्रॉकरी होगा वो गिर गया। My Christmas puddings! Exclaimed Jean and ran out. It was Lob who had bounced in through the open kitchen window. Lob stood on his hind legs and plastered Sandy's face with licks. Then he did the same for the twins, who shrieked with joy. So there was none other than the Lob who came through the window, and he was very happy seeing Sandy and the two kids, and he started licking all of them. Where does this friend of yours come from? Inquired Mr. Pengelly. Obviously अभी उसको कहाँ से मालूम होगा, तो वो सिर्फ सैंडी को ऐसे ही पूछ रहे हैं। He is staying at the Fisherman's Arms. I mean his owner is. Obviously उसके ओनर के साथ ही रह रहा होगा डॉग। Then he must go back there. Find a bit of string. Sandy tied to his collar. So उसके फादर काफ़ी स्ट्रिक्ट थे, उन्होंने कहा कि obviously if he is staying at Fisherman's Arms then he should be back there. I wonder how he found his way here, Miss Pengelly said. Sandy explained about their afternoon's game on the beach. Lob's owner thanked Mr. Pengelly for bringing him back. Obviously they called up Fisherman's Arms और उन्होंने जो लॉब है उसको लेके वापस गए वहाँ पे। Jean Pengelly warned the children that they had better not encourage lob anymore, right? So उसकी जो mother थी, she just warned the kids that do not encourage lob to do this thing anymore. The next day was Saturday. Sandy had found out that Mr. Dodsworth was to catch the 9:30 train. She went out secretly down to the station and she saw Mr. Dodsworth get on the train accompanied by an unhappy looking lob with drooping ears and tails. And then she saw the train slide away. Sandy walked home miserably. So दूसरे दिन सैटरडे था एंड शी केम टू नो कि मिस्टर डॉड्सवर्थ जो है वो 9:30 की ट्रेन से जाने वाला है सुबह। सो शी जस्ट वेंट डाउन टू द स्टेशन और वहाँ पे उसने देखा कि मिस्टर डॉट्सवर्थ है और उसके साथ उनका कुत्ता भी था. इट वॉज क्वाइट अनहैप्पी और उसके जो ईयर्स और टेल्स होता है इट वॉज ड्रूपिंग डाउन, मतलब इट वॉज सैड. ठीक है. और उसने देखा कि ट्रेन तो चली गई. शी वॉकड होम मिजरेबली. A week passed and then one evening suddenly history was repeating itself. History was repeating. यहाँ पे कौन सी हिस्ट्री रिपीट होने वाली थी? जो उसने एंट्री की थी ना पहले, it came from the window, right, from the kitchen window. Same way, after 1 week, the same thing happened. A crash from the kitchen again. Jean Pengelly leaped up, but Sandy was ahead of her mother this time because somewhere in Sandy's mind she had कि शायद वो लॉब उसको वापस दिख जाए. With eyes like stars, she had darted into the kitchen where she and Lob were hugging one another in a frenzy of joy. Right, so Jean was quite puzzled and surprised to see the dog, right? और वो जब अंदर किचन में गई, then at that time Lob and Sandy were hugging each other, right? And they were so happy. They were in frenzy of joy. That means they were very excited. Good heavens, exclaimed Jean. How in the world did he get there? He must have walked, said Sandy. Look at his feet. They were worn and dusty. One had a cut on the pad. So they were just thinking, how did it came over here? All the way from Liverpool to Cornwall. And that was quite a long distance. They ought to be bathed, said Jean Pengelly. Sandy, run a bowl of warm water while I get the disinfectant. सो जीन पेनगेली ने कहा कि वी नीड टू क्लीन अप हिज वुंड, या फिर उसको और कुछ हो जाएगा, राइट? तो सेप्टिक हो सकता है. तो उसने बोला कि ठीक है, वी हैव टू क्लीन इट एंड क्लीन द वुंड एंड अप्लाई सम एंटीसेप्टिक ओवर देयर. ओके, सो योर डैड कैन गेट द एड्रेस फ्रॉम द फिशरमैन्स टुमारो. इन द मीन टाइम ही वुड बेटर हैव अ लॉन्ग ड्रिंक एंड अ गुड मील. सो वी वुड गेट द एड्रेस फ्रॉम द फिशरमैन्स आर्म and then we can hand over the dog to Mr. Dodsworth. Lob was very grateful for the meal and having his feet washed. Then he flopped down on the hearth rug and slept with his head on Sandy's feet. He walked all the way from Liverpool to Cornwall, which was more than 400 miles. Right, so he was quite tired and that's why he just slept over there while placing his head on Sandy's feet, because he had walked all the way from Liverpool to Cornwall, जो almost 400 miles का distance है. The next day, Lob's owner Dodsworth arrived to take his pet home, and that parting was worse than the first one, obviously, है ना. उस टाइम पे तो तुरंत ही भेज दिया था, लेकिन अभी उसको देख के उसको क्लीन किया, उसको खाना खिलाया, राइट. एंड सबसे बड़ी चीज़, वो सैंडी के लिए इतना सारा डिस्टेंस कवर करके आया था. सो ऑब्वियसली इट वॉज डिफ़िकल्ट फॉर सैंडी ऑल्सो टू लीव द डॉग, राइट. Lob also whined. It also started crying. And Dawn walked out of the house. The twins burst out crying and Sandy crept up to her bedroom and lay feeling as she was bruised all over. That means she just lied over there because उसको जो मतलब फीलिंग थी उस वक्त, राइट, इट फेल्ट लाइक शी इज़ हर्ट एवरीवेयर. ब्रूज्ड अप मतलब उसके बॉडी पे हर जगह पे उसको लगी हुई है, बट एक्चुअली हर हार्ट वॉज ब्रूज्ड अप बिकॉज लॉब जो है वो चला गया था वहाँ से, इसलिए. Jean Pengelly took them all into Plymouth to see the circus on the next day, and the twins cheered up a little, but nothing could cure Sandy's sore heart. तो सैंडी जो है उसका जो हार्ट है, मतलब इट वॉज सोर हार्ट. सोर मतलब पेन हो रहा था उसको, राइट, उसके हार्ट में, बिकॉज द डॉग हैज़ लेफ्ट हर, दैट्स वाई. सो जीन पेनगेली ने सबको लेके सर्कस गई थी, बट शी वॉज नॉट एट ऑल इन द मूड टू एन्जॉय. इन 10 days टाइम लॉब वॉज बैक अगेन. 10 दिन बाद वापस लॉब आ गया, लिम्पिंग दिस टाइम, एंड दिस टाइम इट माइट हैव गॉट हर्ट, इसीलिए वो ठीक से चल नहीं पा रहा था. विथ अ टोन ईयर एंड अ पैच मिसिंग आउट ऑफ हिज फरी कोट. मतलब उसका जो बॉडी था उस पर से किसी के साथ उसका मतलब लड़ाई हुआ होगा डॉग्स के साथ, और एक पूरा पैच निकल गया था. एज इफ ही हैड मेट एंड एंटेंगल्ड with an enemy or two in the course of his 400 miles walk. Obviously, वापस वो लिवरपूल से कॉर्नवॉल आया था. Bert Pengelly rang up Liverpool again, as usual. Mr. Dodsworth said, I can't spare away from my work, plus endless time in police station and drafting newspaper advertisement. I'm too old for these ups and downs. I think, Mr. Pengelly, that it's your family he wants to stay with and you may have him as a gift. So when Bert called up Mr. Dodsworth, he said कि I can't keep on टेकिंग लीव फ्रॉम माई वर्क. मतलब मुझे ऐसे छुट्टी नहीं मिल सकती है बार बार अपने जॉब से, और ये फिर पुलिस स्टेशन जाना एंड देन ड्राफ्टिंग न्यूज़ पेपर एडवर्टीजमेंट्स एंड ऑल दोज थिंग, इट्स क्वाइट डिफिकल्ट फॉर मी. सो यू कैन डू वन थिंग, आई कैन गिव यू लॉब एज अ गिफ्ट, बिकॉज मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि लॉब वॉन्ट्स टू बी विथ योर family, so you can have him as a gift. Alexandra's father looked at his daughter's swimming eyes. Well then, Mr. Dodsworth, he said briskly, we will be overjoyed and you can be sure Lob has come to a good home. So Alexandra's father, मतलब Sandy के जो father थे, she looked at his daughter's eyes, मतलब उसकी आँखें भर आई थी पूरी, है ना, tears से. And then he said, okay, if you are giving it as a gift, then we would be very happy to take care of it and you can keep trust on us कि Lob एक अच्छे घर में ही आया है. So that was how Lob came to live with Pengelly family. Everybody loved him and he loved them. Yes, that was true. But he was Sandy's dog. He slept by her bed and followed everywhere. 9 years went by और ऐसे 9 साल निकल गए. In the course of 9 years, Lob changed less than Sandy. As she went into her teens, he became a little slower, a little stiffer. There was a touch of grey on his nose, but he was still a handsome dog. He and Sandy still loved one another devotedly. That means, as we saw, that the 9 years have passed by. And in this course of 9 years, Lob have changed less than Sandy. That means Sandy was just 5. Now she has turned into teenager. That means she is young, she is full of energy. But Lob was growing older and that's why he became little slower and stiffer. His body was not that flexible, which it was before. But yes, he was still a handsome dog. And the love between them never grew old, or you can say it just kept on increasing. One evening in October, it was a wet, windy dusk. When the children came home from school, Jean Pengelly said, Sandy, your Aunt Rebecca says she is lonesome because Uncle Will Hoskins has gone out trawling and she wants you to go and spend the evening with her. So one evening in October, Jean Pengelly, that means the mother of Sandy, right? She asked her to go to Aunt Rebecca's house because she was lonely, as his husband, Uncle Will Hoskins, he was gone out for fishing. And that's why she wanted to spend evening with Sandy. Okay. So Sandy said, can I take Lob with me? You know Aunt Becky doesn't really like dogs, but I suppose she will have to put up with him. That means as you are going, Sandy, so obviously you would be taking Lob along with you, although Aunt Becky doesn't like it. Miss Pengelly sighed. That means she didn't wanted Sandy to take Lob along with her, but Sandy won't be listening to her, and that's why she just said, yes, okay, you can take him. Sandy fastened Lob's lead to his collar and set off to Aunt Becky's cottage, which was 5 minutes climb up the steep hill. So they both left for Aunt Becky's house. The wind was howling through the shrouds of boats drawn up on the Hard, and it was quite stormy and windy day, and the wind was making some noise. Howling means it was making the noise through the shrouds of the boat. Shrouds means the white cloth which is tied up on the boats for sail, right? तो उसकी आवाज़ की वजह से ऐसा लग रहा था कि the wind is howling on the Hard. Okay, so I hope कि आपको यहाँ तक clear हो गया है. We would continue with the remaining portion in the next class.